Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 9th of February. Good to have you aboard. Part of the Believe Podcast Network and presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. If you're involved in any kind of an accident, you call 911 first, and then you let Anidjar and Levine take care of the rest. Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. Week 10 of the NFL season gets going tonight. The Heat last night. The Panthers last night. Almost every NBA team played last night. We got a great show planned for you today. Jamie Eisenberg, CBS Sports fantasy football expert. He joins us every Thursday, so we will get our fantasy football lineup set. You're not going to want to miss that. Also, this Saturday, Canes, FSU, my former co-host, University of Miami Sports Hall of Famer, Remington Award winner, Brent Romberg is going to join the show. We'll get Romberg on. We'll talk some Canes and FSU with him. And also, you can tell there's so much action. All the major pro sports leagues, they're all in season now. They're all going. Everything is happening. NBA, college basketball. Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL. Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. All the hoops betting action, along with every sport available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to the Bet Online today and remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, action-packed show. Week 10 beginning tonight. Carolina, Chicago. Great night last night. We got the double dip. Everybody knows when the Heat and Panthers win on the same night, that's the double dip. It doesn't happen too often, and it's so much better than when they both lose. That's called the double dick punch. Everybody knows that. Double dip is so much better than double dick punch. So both teams get a win last night, and here's what we did in the Zaslow Mansion family room. So Panthers started 7:30, TNT only game, national game. I love that. Like I said to my son, we're watching the game, and I said to him, it's a national TV game. And my younger one, he doesn't really understand what that means. So this game's only on TNT, and it's great when they play well, because then everyone gets to see that the Panthers are really good. That was my favorite when I was a kid. Now, if I have the option, and we didn't have the option last night, it was a TNT exclusive game, and the same thing when the Heat are on TNT, those are exclusive. But if the game is also on ESPN and on the local channel, I always watch the local broadcast. I'll watch Eric Reed and John Crotty, or I'll watch Goldie and Randy Moeller. All right, you got to support the local broadcast. But when I was a kid, and you had the option, I always watched the national broadcast. Because back then, I had to hear what the national guys were saying about my favorite team. That was so important, because you didn't have all these shows all throughout the day, the talk shows, the debate shows, all of that stuff. You didn't get to hear what the national critics were saying about your team unless they were doing the game broadcast. So when I was a kid, if the Heat were on ABC, NBC, TNT, whatever, I had to watch the national broadcast. I got to hear what they say about my favorite team. And it was amazing when they would win, because then I felt like it was important for everyone else who's watching around the country. See? The Heat, Steve Smith and Ronnie Cycling and Glenn Rice, they're good. You just saw them win. That was so important to me as a kid. Anyway, last night, though, so the Panthers are on at 7:30. The Heat are on at 8. So what we did was, we started with the Panthers on the big TV. When the Heat got going, they were on the small TV. At intermission, we put the Heat over on the big TV. And then, so the Panthers got to second intermission at the same time the Heat got to halftime. So from that point on, I record all the games. So at that point on, I shut the Heat game off. And I watched the third period of the Panthers, so that this way I can get that out of the way and give the second half of the Heat all my attention on its own. I wanted to be able to make sure I watched the finish. Third period Panthers, second half Heat without any interruption. So we had a nice little back-to-back in the win column last night in the ZASLOW Mansion family room. So let's start out with the Panthers because that's a little bit shorter here. So the Panthers, they're down 1-0. They tie it. They take a 2-1 lead. Barkov with the goal makes it 2-1. Washington would go up 3-2. And then in the third period, incredible pass from Gus Forsling finding Evan Rodriguez.
Really had to miss the mark that he was looking for when it goes right off the pad like that. Look at that!
Backdoor play for Rodriguez. What a feed from Gustav Forsling. And the Panthers have tied it at 3.
All right, so we tie the game there, middle of the third period. Game winds up going to overtime. Okay, we'll take the point. Let's now try and get an extra point here. And it did not take long.
Game for the Capitals, it's the third. And here's a chance for Barkov right in, and he scores! It's Reinhart, the winner, just 15 seconds into overtime. That didn't take long, and Tom Wilson came out, and there is a little bit of a skirmish near the Washington Capitals bench.
There was a little jab there. Wilson poking Mikkola. But this game is over. This game is over with a long stretch pass and an incredible play by Reinhart, the right-hander, to look like he was going to the backhand, and instead he brings it to the forehand.
Yeah, so now we're cooking with gas. The Panthers, Sam Reinhart, who's I think it's his 10th goal of the season, off to a tremendous start. Panthers win 4-3, second straight overtime win. They also won in overtime at home against Columbus. They're now 2-1 in overtime. You go back to the beginning of last week when they lost in overtime at Boston. And now 7-4-1, the Panthers. So after that 0-2 start, the Panthers have won 7 of 10 since that start. 7-4-1 overall. This is now a really good start to the season for the Panthers. And when you consider Montour and Ekblad, they're in tow. We could be a couple weeks away from getting those guys back. Hopefully we get Sam Bennett back in the not-too-distant future. So the Panthers now are officially off to a really nice start. So they get the 2 points last night. And then, like I said, we could shut that down. Let's move on over to our favorite little basketball team. And I told you going into the game, right? The win against the Lakers, it doesn't mean, like, I felt really good about the Heat after the Laker win, even though I don't think the Lakers are any good. But I felt really good about the Heat win against the Lakers because of what it can mean moving forward. Specifically, Bam's play. If Bam is going to become the best player on the team, that's what internally this organization is talking about. That's why internally they believe they are going to be better than they were last year. And we're seeing that now because if Bam is going to be this guy, that's a whole different thing for this Heat team. So I feel a lot better about the team from what we saw from Bam against the Lakers, and then we saw it again last night. Also, if you beat the Lakers and then you lose to the lowly Grizzlies, that game doesn't mean anything. You now have to win the games you're supposed to win, even if it's on the road. And they do. They were ahead the whole game. The Grizzlies take, an 81-77 lead, like late in the third quarter. The Heat come right back. They go back ahead by 10. Things got a little dicey late. The Heat managed to hang on. But Bam Adebayo, 30 points, 11 rebounds, 14 of 16 from the free throw line. This is a different player than we've seen. It is. I feel like we've said that a few times at the start of seasons, but if you're paying attention, it may sound like a broken record, but this is a different player than we've seen in past years. He looks amazing, and this is, he's the captain of the team now. I don't know if that makes a difference, but this version of Bam Adebayo, that's what we're talking about. A dominant player in the middle on both ends of the floor. So I'm fucking talking about. So you get that big performance from Bam last night. You get Jimmy Butler just able to do his thing. Kyle Lowry, look, it's about time. 3 years, get a nice performance from you. I kid. Kyle Lowry was very good last night. He was an assist away from a triple-double. 17 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, had 4 threes. He was really good last night. I mean, I could continue ranting and raving about Duncan Robinson. He's been terrific. I don't understand what's going on with Josh Richardson. Like I said yesterday, he's borderline unplayable. And now with Tyler Hero out, you got to get something from Richardson. Richardson was a minus 19 last night. 1 for 9. 0 for 5 from 3. He has been terrible. Like, I don't get it. Richardson so far, look, it's only 5 games. He's shooting 30%. And he's shooting 19% from 3. I think he's made 1 3 so far this year in those 5 games. The big story, of course, is Tyler Hero getting hurt. Didn't sound good. Hero said he heard some crunching and some crackling, and he hopped right to the locker room. That X-rays were negative, so that's huge, obviously, if we're talking about crunching and crackling. But he's getting MRI today. He even said it's probably going to be a few weeks. They're going to be fine without him, but a guy who's been averaging 25 points per game, it is a major loss right now. Luckily, they've gotten back to the place where they're 4-4 as opposed to them getting hurt, and they're 1-4. So they're 4-4. They've won 3 in a row. They get their first road win of the season. And by the way, Jaime Jaquez Jr., he hits the 3 in the corner to ice the game. It was 105-102. The Grizzlies, they had one final opportunity. Jaquez hits the 3. Robinson swing pass over to him in the corner. And that's what I'm talking about before the season, where these regular season minutes for guys like Jaquez, players like Highsmith, even be it Drew Smith, Jovic, who's not playing right now. These guys, it's where I felt they could take a step backwards in the regular season to take a step forward in the postseason, because you have to have guys who are going to take the spot of Vincent and Strus in the playoffs. Guys who are able to contribute in the playoffs. And that's why some of these minutes for guys like Jaquez in the regular season are huge. And Jaquez hits a big 3 last night. It was his best game as a pro so far. He was really good yesterday. I mean, the one play where he strips the ball, he immediately takes off. Lowry finds him with the bounce pass, up and under, layup, timeout. Grizzlies, you don't know what to do. You got to talk it over. I mean, Jaquez, the way that he's performing now these last couple games, you're going to wind up seeing when we get to later in the season, this is a kid who is ready to contribute in the postseason. So that was 2 things for the best part last night. Jaquez, the way that he's contributing, and Bam. I mean, that's your dog. Bam Adebayo was your boy last night. And obviously, the huge negative is Tyler Hero going down. Unless we find out it's going to be more than a few weeks, I don't think it's a big deal. But, man, there were some things to feel really good about with the Heat last night, specifically Bam and Jaquez. So the Heat get the win. They improve to 4-4, and now we start over. Now, back to 500, and now we can forget about losing 4 out of 5 to start the year. Next up, the team is at Atlanta on Saturday. They're off to a good start this year. The Panthers next up. They have the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, little rematch from when we swept that ass. This Friday, Amerant Bank Arena, Panthers hosting their rival Carolina Hurricanes. Great night last night. Double dip. That's what everybody's talking about.